Good afternoon, friends. I'm Stephen Brennan. You're watching Fact News Network. And listen, there's something that I really want to address. And me and my wife have been talking about this quite a bit. And of course, this article here is not dealing directly with it, but it does go into it as well. This is on World Israel News. Kushner says another Arab country may open relations with Israel. And again, we've had that odd situation where Jared Kushner comes in with the president to make an announcement when it comes to anything dealing with the Middle East. Where is his vice president at when all this is going on? Why is it always Jared Kushner enters into the room? Anyway, there's a lot of fuss going on about the United Arab Emirates. A lot of ministers are out there giving you a bunch of hocus pocus, which is not prophecy. And they're saying that, oh, this is Daniel's prophecy right here. They're making the covenant over there in the Middle East. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. You know, for those of you that remember, and let's just look a bit at the article right here. Things are happening that I can't talk about, Kushner said, refusing to name the country. Trump's senior advisor, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, said another country besides the United Arab Emirates might open diplomatic ties with Israel, though he wouldn't name which one. He made his remarks following the historic announcement on Thursday. All right, so we got another Arabic nation that is coming on board. But those of you that have watched over on INL, Israeli News Live, for any length of time whatsoever, you will know that we have talked about the One Belt, One Road, or the Silk Road Initiative on more than one occasion. In fact, I've talked about it quite a bit. But on two particular videos that I've done, I actually have it to where I use those names in there. Here's one, for example. This was on May 11th, 2018. Why the U.S. and Israel want regime change in Iran, China's Silk Road. And I'm going to share some of the clips in this here. But when I did this one right here, One Belt, One Road, Prophecy Outlook, this one's got some very interesting things. Now, I'm going to share some of this video here with you because what's going on, what Israel's doing right now, making more of these connections, it's actually part of the BRICS that began long ago. This is the BRICS nations, which was Brazil, Russia, India, and China originally. This was those nations that were coming together in order to form part of what I really believe was the one world government. It's part of that new economic system coming in. But even though they put India in there for the I, Israel really should have been the one that was in there for the I from the beginning. But Israel has really been playing down low key in this whole event. Now, I actually, in this video, you'd have to watch it. I'll put the link in there for you. We're going to start here around 15:20 here in just a minute. But let me back up just to share something with you in this video. I also go into the book of Revelation here where we read about how that the whole world mourns over the destruction of this great city of Babylon because the world was made rich by her delicacies, etc. And I talk about this in here and I question, because some people say, well, that would be the destruction of Washington, D.C. And yes, we will see the destruction of Washington, D.C. probably in the not so distant future, unless somebody makes a stand and fights against this, because these globalists, these elitist powers that are ran by Chabad organizations all over the world there are bent on making it look like prophecy is being fulfilled when it's not. What's going to cause the whole world to mourn is when the destruction comes of the true city of Babylon, when the New World Order headquarters in Israel is destroyed because of the One Belt, One Road initiative, the New World Order that they're establishing. And so I actually, in here, I talk about this from that prophetic standpoint. I say, it says that the merchants of the world and all the shipmasters of the world said, how could this happen? This city in 1 hour has come to naught. All right. So I suggested in there that prophecy is yet to be fulfilled. And I actually say it will not be fulfilled with the destruction of Washington, D.C. All right. But here's what gets interesting. You move later in the video here, and this is a very lengthy video. I go into a lot of information on this, and I think you really should look at it because we are watching the New World Order come into play, I get into Neom, everything. But I want you to see this part right here, especially because this is where Netanyahu and the president are going to talk about this Silk Road. And so listen into this just for a moment.
New ideas on how to reinstate them.
Let me back
I'll
up.
play this for you again. Let's make sure that we can actually, I want to make sure that my volumes are high enough because it does seem a bit weak on the volume there. But I want you to be able to hear this. Let's back it up. Let's play what Prime Minister Netanyahu says one more time. Just what he says is what I want to cover here.
New ways, new ideas on how to reinstate them and how to move peace forward. And I believe that the great opportunity for peace comes from a regional approach, from involving our newfound Arab partners in the pursuit of a broader peace and peace with the Palestinians.
From a regional approach with our newfound Arab partners. This is what's supposed to bring about peace. Now, the funny thing is the entire Middle East is embroiled in war. But as I mentioned to you guys some time back, if you look at the 7 countries that America was to take out in 5 years, every one of those countries had something to do with this Silk Road. Now, is it coincidence? I don't think so. I think there is a reason for every one of these countries to have a regime change. And of course, Iran is still on the list because Iran, of course, is right in the axis of the Silk Road Initiative to begin with. But when Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke about a regional move, there's something that you have to really take seriously into consideration to understand what he's speaking about. Saudi Arabia's tech utopia Neom will have to reinvent the rules to succeed. All right, this is an article that we speak. That I haven't shared this with you before, but it's just an article about the city of Neom. And of course, the city of Neom being a city-state, it will be the 4th city-state on the planet Earth. We have 3 city-states that pretty much have dominated the world economically, and that has been D.C. city-state, London city-state, and of course Vatican city-state that has really held the economics of the world. But Neom...
You got to keep in mind, though, when we talk about control of the economics of the world, that is controlled by the Rothschild, Rockefeller groups in the background. And, of course, the dollar, which they run, the International Monetary Fund, they have globally dominated the world to begin with. But what's also interesting in this is when he talked about these newfounded partners, one of those partners even back then were the United Arab Emirates. It wasn't just Saudi Arabia. And I go into that in one of these other videos. I forget exactly where I go into that at. But this whole situation, as you see going on right now with the United Arab Emirates and, of course, another country coming on board is all a part of this initiative. And of course, even since all of this, since talking about the Silk Road Initiative, things like that, I'm reminded by friends there in Israel who are involved with intelligence community there on this one particular individual, not actual intelligence, but involved in it, has shared with me, don't forget, Steve, everything about Syria is dealing with the incoming pipeline. They had to deal with Syria. They needed to get control of Syria in order to be able to bring that pipeline across. That's part of the One Belt, One Road initiative as well, because Israel is going to be a major key port. That's why we see China was involved with the construction or reconstruction of the Haifa port, while America's military was dictated to on what the rules will be when they bring in an aircraft carrier. There can be no fighter planes on deck. They must all be put below. And America was really getting bent out of shape that China could dictate the rules. Israel kind of played that down a little bit. And then, of course, nobody ever bid against China for the Haifa port reconstruction project. They just got it with no questions asked. And then again, we've seen that finally, because there was so much stir over that, now they made it a bid for the Ashkelon port. And, of course, China had to bid for that one against a few other nations, but all the other nations, of course, lost. Part of that One Road, One Silk initiative. Now, don't forget, the other thing is, in some of these videos that I did on the Silk Road initiative, I always show that how Israel has always been the major player in this, not China. Where do you think the billions of dollars have come from? It was all from Israel. You have to go back and find the videos that I did on this, and I only know of 2 right now, and maybe it's in this one as well. But I show how that the elitist Rothschild, Rockefeller types, I say, not necessarily them, are the financiers of this. And don't forget, the United States back in the 90s, all the big corporations owned by Jewish companies, many of them moved to China. That's one of the reasons why our nation began to collapse economically over time and became more and more indebted to China, because they were all moving to China. The One Belt, One Road initiative, it's going to be in China. Of course, they're going to reestablish that ancient road that was like 200 years before the coming of Christ, and continuing, of course, died out and now being all revised again here in the last day. The Babylonian Empire, once again, being reestablished. Now, let me show you the other video here. And I'll play a little clip in this one right here. I think I've got it in the right place. Let's just take a look and see. I did this one as a live broadcast. And this one was done May 11, 2018. The other one that I first did, I think, was July 15th. So the first one here was actually earlier on.
There that have lived in Iran in the past have just was sharing some insights with me about Iran, so I would have a better picture of what's going on in the country. And that's when it just came kind of like an inspiration. I don't want to say it's a leading of God, I don't know. But when, although they didn't mention anything about that, but when it just come to me that this is why Iran is targeted. And not just Iran, as I said last night. They're also were targeting the 7 nations. They wanted to take out Iraq. They wanted to take out Syria. They wanted to take out Lebanon, Sudan, Egypt, Libya, and Iran, finishing off with Iran. But why Iran? That's what didn't make sense, all right? Well, when you begin to look at what the Silk Road that the Chinese are doing, then it might make more sense to you why. Now, it says here, you've probably heard of the Silk Road, the ancient trade route that once ran between China and West during the days of the Roman Empire.
To save time, let's move a little bit forward there. I actually go in here and I begin to show the maps. And there's several things that you'll note on here when you're looking at the maps. And these maps have changed, by the way, over time. But of course, leaving out of China, you see, the Middle East is covered. You see the water routes that are covered as well. But another thing that I thought was very interesting in all this, when you begin to look at the routes and the different maps that are used, let's see, I don't know if I used a different map in here or not. But of course, you see Sudan on your map there. You see, of course, Iran is the main hub. In fact, in another map, and it's not shown on here, but I did do it in another Silk Road Initiative map there. When you're looking at that blue line up there that comes out of China, once it gets over to Iran, there's actually a split in the road. One goes up through Turkey, which will go inside of Europe, and then the new map loops back around to Moscow and stops. The other one breaks down, goes through Israel, stops also at the new port that China has built there at Haifa, and then goes down, goes over into northern Africa, Egypt, Libya, and then also breaks off and goes down towards Sudan. Now, a couple of things I find interesting about these things as well, too, is that as they're putting together this whole new global project here, you have to keep in mind some of the intel that I was given in regards to things that will happen in the planetary bodies over this next course of time here we're facing, which I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail on that because I've been talking some more about that with some folks there. I'm going to share some more information later on that. But some of the safe places that I was told that would be on the Earth when we deal with these issues that are going to be happening, asteroids and things that will affect the Earth, was that central China, Syria, and also Central Africa, all these these places will do very well, especially when we're dealing with massive earthquakes and things like that. They will actually hold up very well when all this happens. So that's another reason why I think you see that this new Silk Road Initiative is being put together, because they need a new economic system, a new place, after all the chaos that we go through as time goes on. In America, of course, they're done with America. They just take America down. They could really care less anymore about America. So bottom line, though, is this, friends. When we are looking at the situation that Jared Kushner is working out all these deals going on right now, with these other Arabic nations. This has nothing to do with Daniel's prophecy, nothing to do with that whatsoever. This clearly is Israel building their one world government. This is the beast kingdom rising. This is the reptilian kingdom getting its full foothold on a global scale. This basically is happening as a result of what? The Christians have given power back over to the beast. So the beast kingdom is once again rising. The serpent is now coming back into power and is going to take over globally. And here's what's interesting as well. If you think about it, think about this as well. We have a lot of ministers that are saying, oh, don't listen to Israeli News Live. They're just lying. They're fear-mongering and everything. We're about to have a great revival, and there's going to be a great economic trend that's coming. Don't worry, friends. Don't worry about that. Everything's going to be just fine. Well, they're saying that because they're actually going to promote the beast kingdom. That's what they're doing, or they are already promoting the beast kingdom. Because, yes, under this new beast kingdom, the beast, his deadly wound is healed, and they rise back up to power. Sure, they're making a great economic future for those that are going to yield themselves over. They're going to take the mark of the beast. They're going to be a part of that beast kingdom system. And yeah, they're going to be the ones that are going to be mourning once it's destroyed by Christ when he comes and takes this all out. And you see more and more things too, little key things that should let you know who's really in control. Like RT puts out this article here, 1,000-year-old manuscript written by ancient Silk Road family found in Afghanistan. Wow. This Jewish family writing in Hebrew, and they just automatically make them a Silk Road family. And they get these ancient documents that's bought by the antiquity or some people there in Israel. I just find it interesting that they're finding documents that relate to the Jewish people involved in all this. Well, they're definitely involved in it now, so I guess they're just trying to, build a case for that. Anyway, and of course, it's no doubt reason why too. Like Jonathan Greenblatt comes out and speaks about Facebook analysis that's explicitly adding blackface and common anti-Semitic conspiracy theories to its hate speech. I know it's a little bit turn here. I just want to kind of cover a couple other things here as we close out in this broadcast here. He's saying, though, Jonathan is saying, oh, that was really nothing what Facebook did. But Facebook now is, if you're out there speaking about conspiracy theories or something like that that kind of puts Israel down, that's going to be banned from Facebook. So they're slowly but surely stepping up the steps there that is making anything that speaks against any of the evils that are being done in Israel, that's not going to be allowed on Facebook. Now, this is something that really kind of made me wonder a little bit. This is on Catholic News Agency. Vatican congregation to send ventilators to Syria and Holy Land. Ventilators. We already know. My wife has done enough on this pandemic that's going on and said to you guys enough about the dangers of these ventilators. If you go on a ventilator, what is it, like 30% chance you're not going to come back off of that again? That's like euthanasia, right? So the Vatican is going to send ventilators to Syria and the Holy Land. Yeah, I just can't help but wonder. They're up to no good. And I always think too, when the Vatican is involved in sending in medical supplies, it seems like other nations that do that as well. They send in medical supplies, but underneath that, somebody else sneaks in some armaments and things like that. That's one of those things that do make you go, right? Yeah, exactly. I don't know what to think about that. CDC says, this over here on Twitter, CDC says recovered COVID-19 patients will have immunity for about 3 months. Oh, wow. How did CDC figure that out? That nice for-profit organization here in America that seems to be able to run everything. But they say here that The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that those who have tested positive for COVID-19 have recovered do not need to quarantine or get tested again for up to 3 months, provided they do not develop symptoms again. So your antibodies that your body built are only good for 3 months when it comes to COVID. All the other viruses, it's pretty much lifetime. You get a little bit of antibodies after having chicken pox. You don't have to ever have chicken pox again, but not the COVID-19, boy. You're gonna get it 3 months from now again. What a I won't even say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be nice. Going to try to be real nice here tonight. Before I go into that video there, I want to just take you over here. Forced isolation may be the only way to stop reinsurgent of virus. Forced isolation. Isn't that lovely? Flare-ups from Australia to Japan show that the world hasn't learned an early lesson from the coronavirus crisis. To stop the spread, those with mild or symptoms-free of coronavirus infections must be forced to isolate both from their communities and family. So that's what they're going to have all these FEMA camps for. So they can separate you from your loved ones and put everybody into isolation. You're not even going to be allowed to be in your house anymore. It's coming, friends. It is coming. A totalitarian dictatorship. What are they planning on doing? Well, maybe you might get an idea from this video right here. We loaded this, copied this up, mirrored it over here on Yana's channel, Rise Up Children of God. Lorenzo, it was actually a friend of mine in the Netherlands, not Lorenzo, but a friend of mine in the Netherlands that sent this to me there. I want to thank my brother there for doing that. But listen to this here. Very, very serious. Let me find the right spot to play this. Oh, maybe it is already the right spot. Okay, here we go. Listen into this.
Throughout the country. The same plan of attack as when they were in Timor will be used on the people of New Zealand. They have been instructed to use brute force and or any force necessary.
Before I keep playing it, let me just let you know so you know what's going on here, and then we'll close out with this little clip right here. This man here is letting people know that in New Zealand, they're going, as of October 1st, to full martial law, military controlling, forced vaccination testing. Friends, this is coming to a city near you. Keep that in mind. Keep these people in your prayers, would you please? Let's listen in.
To make people take the tests. Troops are now training for the next 2 weeks to deal with protests and riots due to few food shortages and loss of jobs. New Zealand is going full martial law very, very soon. I believe, and I'm telling you now, this is an act of treason by the Prime Minister of New Zealand. This is me across the Rubicon, where you get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth, the way I see it. You better start wising up, people, because this is happening. Okay, see you later. Please support me.
God bless this guy there. I don't know his actual channel there now. Renze actually sent this to me. So, Brother Renze, if you can send me the link to this directly to where that people can see the original of this. We would like for people to know that original that he actually put out. And also to please support the broadcast we're doing here. Your help is critical and greatly appreciated. We thank you and thank you for your support. You can visit, for those of you that do not know, that you're maybe new to the channel or whatever, IsraeliNewsLive.org is our website. We're not able to upload videos there right now because of the fact that we're suspended from YouTube, and that's how it's linked. We are also, though, going on, besides DLive and a couple others that we're on, we are going on to a very highly secure platform. I'll be sharing that with you in the very near future. And I know the creator of the system, and it's really good for those that are in ministry. So I'll share information about that with you guys later. But if you want to help donate to the ministry, IsraeliNewsLive.org. Our mailing address to Noon Institute, 8297 Champions Gate Boulevard, number 442, Champions Gate, Florida 33896. And also, or you can just click right there and you can donate online by clicking that button there. It takes you right to where you can donate. And you don't have to have a PayPal card. You can donate with credit card or whatever. But we do thank you, and thank you for your support and your love for this ministry. God bless you, and you have a great afternoon.